Hello, Gareth.
Hello. You all right, mate?
101 part-time jobs.
Pleasure to be back.
I feel like Los Campesinos and your fans incorporate... Well, let's go back just for a second. Los Campesinos means kind of the foragers, you know, the peasants, the people working in the field. Yeah. We are in Catalonia.
Yeah, I know, right? I don't know if that helped us get the gig. I don't know if that was... I think maybe 20 years ago when we came up with the band name, I think we did think maybe this will get us some more gigs in Spain and Latin America. It did at the start, hasn't for a long time, but it's paying off now.
And coming here, I've been to Barcelona a few times, not alone, but no excuse in thinking, I never really read into what the tension between Catalonia and Spain has been. Now my older brother lives up in the north of Spain, so I understand a bit more, but it makes me think of Ireland. Yes. It makes me think of Gaza. It makes me think of how, even though we weren't taught it in school, that's no excuse to kind of lean on ignorance. Sure. But actually, you know, things aren't as complicated as people might want you to think. And if you start learning about something, it's just kind of pulling a thread. So what's your history been of like that? When did you start kind of reading up on it yourself?
I think my political awakening was, I don't know why, but like when I was like 15, 16 or something like that. I studied politics at A level, so I think I must have had an interest then. I'm from a working class background. My dad's always been a socialist and I adopted his principles and have carried on with that. So I think quite young, but I think what's great and what we're seeing in people's response to news and events and you say like the genocide in Gaza is that lots of people are taking an interest later on in life, like people who might not have been politicized as a teenager or even into their 20s or 30s, whatever. But now when people are seeing things, more and more people are not just staying silent and not willing to just be a part, like just let it play out, and are speaking up. And that's obviously at whatever age you start understanding these things and reacting to them, it's better than not at all.
And I started this show because I wanted to interview bands about all the, you know, what it means to be an artist, the work that goes into being an artist, whether that's, you know, back at where you were at Safeways or the work in designing a tour flyer and tour managing yourself here. I think it's all kind of one and the same. Actually, doing this for a few years, it extends to the audience and we have a role to play. We're there physically in a live environment. Sure. Spiritually, when we follow a message and when we take influence and read up on ourselves, whether it's the Manic Street Preachers, whether it's Los Campesinos, whether it's Kneecap, actually we have a job to do now. And there is so much tragedy in the apartheid and Sudan and all over the world. But there is hope in knowing that we are together and our voices can be heard.
Totally, and we see that in like the huge large scale protests that are happening, not only in support of Palestine, but be it in support of trans rights or anything like that, people are coming together to work with. And yeah, I think relating it to our band is, as you say, like it feels like a community, and it feels like we're on the stage and people are in the pit, but that's the only difference between us and the crowd, and it doesn't feel like a difference at all. So we just got back from the US and we did a run of short run of shows over there, and just every night we by chance we just happened, all the venues we're playing were quite punky venues, and the last gig of the tour in New York, which is our biggest ever New York show, and it's in like this like dingy warehouse vibe with like the stage is 2 feet tall, crowd right on top of us, and it's just sick to like feel that energy. And it's going to be really interesting to see how it feels, you know, on a huge stage in the open air looking out at the Mediterranean Sea. So yeah, can't wait.
One really cool thing about Primavera the last few days, I've seen so many people who look like they might be queer or androgynous folk or people who don't give a fuck in the wise words of Limp Bizkit. Being around that, again, as a fan, as a band, whatever, it's so empowering.
Oh, and it just feels great to see people comfortable expressing themselves and like being able to attend somewhere like this and know that hopefully they won't be subject to any abuse. They can be themselves, and chances are if they were subject to any abuse, you'd have 1,000 people around you ready to like bang some heads together. So and it's just so like you find yourself walking around and just the outrageous I'm a black t-shirt, all black guy, But I could never pull off the sort of outfits that you see, but it's an absolute joy to see, and you'll just be walking along and be taken aback by. I think today is probably going to be it being Chapel Rowan Day. I think the best is still to come in terms of the clobber people will be wearing.
Seeing and being part of these kinds of festivals, does it change the narrative of what you're writing about and how you feel about what you do?
It doesn't change what I write about, because I never write until I have to, so I only write when we're in the studio. So I'm not really ever thinking about it. But it's certainly being in this band is amazing. It's the best thing that's ever happened in any of our lives, sort of thing. That's an obvious thing. But each show we do, I think, especially now we are truly independent, like self-releasing, self-managing, etc. To do something like this on our own, and as you said, like I've tour managed it, like, and
to organise this interview, I was messaging you.
Yeah. But like, from booking the flights, or organising the freight of the gear between Barcelona and Porto next week, like every element of it, and it's like I can do that, and I'm good at it, and I'm better than other people we've worked with in the past, and it's their like full-time gig. So it's everything that the band does is just a further it feels great. And to get this opportunity, this is the festival we've wanted to do for we've never done it before, and it's always eluded us, and to get to do it 19 years into our career is I'm glad it's not happened before. I'm glad it's happening now.
Yeah, quality, and we're stoked to be here.
Yeah, mate, I'll keep an eye out for you in the pit.
Just to finish, thinking about music as like an ecosystem, whether it's your band, friends' bands, independent bands all over the country and the world, there is more of a conversation, and of course that's what we want to do on this show, is a big part of it. But everywhere there's a conversation about how can art be sustainable in a time where big tech has taken over, and just all these various factors making it harder and harder for people to create independently in a sustainable way. Has there been a moment in the last few years after being in a band for 18, 19 years that you're like, okay, we are in a sustainable part now? I mean, I guess one example might be looking at streams for All Hell and wondering how much you made from that.
Well, do you know what the thing is? The first 5 years of being a band, we were on a wage. We had a record deal and stuff like that, and for the past year we have been able to put ourselves on a wage, and not enough for it to be full time, but it's enough to pay the bills, pay the mortgage, and that feels very rewarding to know that we've done that off our own back, and that and my goal as manager, like the one thing I want to ensure is that we can do that for as long as possible, that me and my bandmates can all actually have an income from the band. And that's a huge moment to think that there was a time when we had a management and a label, and they were like, it's not sustainable anymore, you can't do it. It's like, you were doing it wrong, and we have found a way to do it, and that's incredibly rewarding.
So is it a case of people educating themselves rather than kind of leaning on legacy traditional practices?
I think when bands are starting out, there's undoubtedly a benefit to having that infrastructure around you, but I do feel like more bands that are sort of level and length of career could make wiser decisions, and maybe do have the knowledge. But then I do think nobody starts a band because they want to make spreadsheets and do budgets and stuff like that.
And you're not thinking about making money when you start it?
No, not if you are, then you're in it for the wrong reasons, isn't it? And you're going to be disappointed. So and
you can see how that's dangerous. Sorry to butt in, because you start doing something because you want to do it, but then at some point you're like, well, I've lost all this money. It's almost pay to play, because you are playing first and then getting paid later.
Yeah. Oh, that's this period, the last couple of months with the band is because we had the US tour and we had this, and then we've got a couple more festivals. So you're outlaying all the money up front, and then you don't get paid until after the performance. So the cash flow is like right down there at the moment.
So you need the capital to start it off.
Yeah, you do, and we do that by making a new T-shirt design or something like that, and we do we do get income from streaming. Of course we do. It's not it's not what you would think it should be, but it's I'd rather have it than not, sort of thing. So that's like the constant. But then it is always finding ways to can we do this, or hopefully we get a well-paid gig or something. But then we don't tend to do gigs for the sake of it. We only do them when there's a reason to do it. So it's tough. I think I think the old ways of the music industry, more bands should like really contemplate if it needs to be that way. But also, as I say, nobody gets into being in a band because you want to do spreadsheets. So it's a tough one.
I think of you more. Do you follow them? The United Musicians AW. They.
Oh yes, sorry, yeah. I didn't. I pronounce it with the letters rather than as a word. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, I do. Yeah, and what they're doing is really positive work. And I think on a smaller level, it can be achieved by just bands talking to each other. Something we try to do, be very transparent about fees and how money's spent. We've done a lot of breakdowns on our newsletter and stuff like that about what it cost us to do a show in Ireland, for example. But I think bands should talk, and same in any job. Like, one of the strongest things you can do as a workforce is tell each other what you're paid, because then people will know if they're being ripped off and know if they should be asking for a pay rise.
That's what unions do.
Absolutely, yeah. And although we don't have like a music business union that functions in that way, obviously the musicians union, but it doesn't really represent artists in that way. With failing that, all we can do is talk to each other and share advice and share experiences, and that will lead to change.
Yeah, big up you, big up everyone talking to each other.
Yeah, totally. I was on a panel on Six Music quite recently with like Kate Nash and a couple of other artists, and it was really great to like have an open discussion and share those things, and there needs to be more of it.
Hey, thank you so much for chatting.
My pleasure. Thank you, Joss.
I know you just released All Hell.
Well, a while ago now, nearly a year.
Yeah.
And that was 7 years since Six Scenes?
In Los Campesinos years.
Yeah. And if you're going to ask, is there going to be new music? Yeah, I think there will be. Like, it won't take 7 years this time. We're motivated, we're excited, and that's a powerful fuel, I suppose. So we'll get round. Once we've had enough fun with All Hell, I think we'll get back to it.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, mate. Let's go from the top again.
Cheers for watching. This is 101 Part-Time Jobs. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, and all podcast apps. We've done interviews with Aurora, Kneecap, Idols, Lauren Maybury of Churches, and loads more. So tap into 101 Part-Time Jobs on Spotify, Apple, and all podcast apps.